aside from the chorus itself, which is, Lydia, Lydia. Also, it's a song that I purposefully started writing in F sharp, or G flat, or reading it, because the chord changes were unfamiliar. So maybe, like I just said, explore and experiment to reach for different fingerings and chord changes. So in terms of an example of repetition, that first verse goes, "You kiss my toothbrush in her parlor. She never complained. Hardly ever been joking," she said. "Oh, it's been so long since I felt you. I nearly gave you up for dead. I nearly gave you up for dead. I nearly gave you up for dead." Now, first, it's also a really good example of what we're talking about as far as tight, rigid lyrics versus more loosely flowing lyrics. And in that instance, the lyrics are really flowing loosely. I can phrase them within the parameters of each measure. Pretty much, I can place them wherever I want, and it becomes more conversational. But at the end of that verse, I say the same thing 3 times. I nearly gave you up for dead. And then, I'm not sure why I did it, but I said it again. And again, I don't remember consciously saying, well, I should do this a 3rd time. But I said it a 3rd time. Each time, it has a different kind of emphasis by virtue of its repetition. And you start interpreting it differently each time. And musically, it's changing slightly. The first time is sort of offhand, like, in a sort of joking context. But the 3rd repetition, you have to kind of stop and wonder whether she's kind of really serious that she was ready to just give him up for dead, that's it, forget about it. So the same words, their meaning changes over time with each repetition. And there's another place in the song where I do somewhat the opposite. And it's at the end where, so I don't want to take some charge. Maybe I am. Don't surprise anyone. Suspect how much. But if you only knew just how much I love you. Know that I love you. It's the best that I can do. Now what happened there, and again, I don't recall whether it was conscious or not, or just intuitive, but all through the song I've been establishing this pattern of a phrase with each chord change. But at that particular point, there's a huge gap. There's a huge dramatic pause. And those kinds of pauses, just like the pause that we were talking about, in your song, Charlie, where like I was using the analogy of 2 magnets that as you pull them further apart, the strength and the power of their attraction becomes stronger right before they break. Well, as you create that space between those 2 phrases, it does something similar, which is that it intensifies the connection between those 2 phrases. And it compels you, it draws your attention to what you're expecting to happen, but hasn't happened yet, and you're still waiting for it. And the more you wait, the more that anticipation grows, until you finally reach that, hopefully satisfying conclusion. But all those things are just small, dramatic lyrical devices. And they may come up and you may choose to use them just by accident or intuitively. But kind of what we're talking about here is recognizing those useful accidents and occasionally planning them and utilizing them on purpose when the need arises, when you're not sure what to do in a particular corner. And you say, well, I could try repetition, or I could try utilization of space, or some alliteration, or some change in tone, or maybe it requires a little bit of light. Anyway, so those are just a couple more examples of all the things that we're trying to talk about.